put your hat on. If you're going to be like the engineer. But you're the engineer. You got to wear the engineer hat. Okay. You look really cute in it. Come on. Yeah, So for starters, so much is different. So much is different on our table. So as I'm sure a lot of you train aficionados recognize this kind of pink surface. We got a bunch of panels. Thank you, Amazon, and we kind of patched them all together. Underneath is the former desert, so it still lives, but in the meantime, we threw some paint over there, and what we'll end up doing is we'll make a mixture of like Elmer's glue and stuff and make some dirt, and we'll throw that down on top of it. But for right now, that's where we're at. We have a bunch of new cars. Hey, get on there. There we go. Whatever. So we have a spur for our industry, and for our industry, we're actually going to have an industry. This is just cardboard box with white duct tape around it. We're going to make a Kirkland factory. Because where else can you make cookies and tires in the same factory? For argument's sake. Anyway, aside from that, we've got a Kato, not Kato, bridge, which is currently not going over anything, but we'll dig some of that foam out and we'll make a little gully or something for it to go through. We've got a B unit for our beloved Santa Fe. That's this kid's favorite, the Santa Fe. Yeah, whatever. We've still got our Scale Trains SD40-2, and because why not, we got another F-Series. We have a Southern Pacific Black Widow A and B unit, also an F-Series. So F7A, F7B, and they're awesome. And the first thing I very much did was get rid of the coupler. Even though it was a knuckler coupler, I got rid of it because I was going to change it out to a micro chains, and I kind of did, but I ended up opting for the 2004-1, which is the already made, you just stick it in there, micro chains coupler. I also did the exact same thing on my Santa Fe. I am not going through that murderous hell of trying to pop in those couplers into the front again. Forget it. Just the prepackaged 2004-1 slides right in, done, finished. Anywho, aside from that, we've got some, well, why don't I bring them out? Some RS3s in there, from New Haven on our track. And we're gonna end up painting all this in, and it's gonna be grass and dirt, and we're gonna put more of our town stuff, which is in boxes over there, but we'll end up putting it over here. I'm getting to it, buddy. One sec. Yeah, I'm getting it to it. Okay. Aside from that, we've done some extra fun stuff because somebody likes sound, and we weren't going to redo everything for DCC and sound for no reason other than to make this little engineer happy. So we got a Kato Soundbox like a month ago, and I still haven't gotten around to using it. We're still using the thing that came with it, which is the first gen EMD. If it focuses, first gen EMD, which is, you know, your F series. Anyway, we're outputting that to a soundbar. That's right. It's just a Insignia soundbar, the good folks at Best Buy, their house brand. It sounds pretty good though, I gotta be honest. Anyway, we went shopping at Goodwill, because up here in Fremont, that's where we went, at Goodwill. So we got the lamp that's over there for $6.99. So that's this lamp, $7. Awesome, with a bulb. Gotta love Goodwill. And then $19.99, we got Goodwill. We got the sound bar that's in there. There you go. I'll turn that on in a sec. And then we got, what do we get? We got something for you for $7. We got you a jacket. So your jacket is worth as much as that lamp. But you're growing so fast, we're gonna get more use out of the lamp, I dare say. Oh, you're so damn cute. Even the cat outside agrees. Okay, so anyway, that's Goodwill. We got some semi-trucks, which are reasonably okay from AliExpress for like, I don't know, whatever it was. What was it, like $3-4? Something like that, $3-4. We got your awesome cousin to make us a Plymouth switcher body for this little run-of-the-mill Kato, not Kato, powered chassis. So that'll be fun. We'll just have a little not to scale, or, you know, HON, whatever it's called. Whatever, we'll just have this awesome little switcher just for funsies. Because why not? We were making a Plaza Japan order. Gotta love Plaza Japan. And we figured, why not? We'll get one of those little motorized chassis while we're at it. We also got some turnouts. We went from, instead of exclusively going for these number 4s, which are very tight and make a lot of the stuff derail or not work right, we got a couple number 6s. Here's one. Which are so much nicer and so much easier, and surprise, surprise, the bigger radius makes it easier to run trains without derail them. Anyway, that's probably not what you care about. It's certainly not what he cares about. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's, we'll start at the Soundbox. Oh, one more thing. I'll show them what Daddy was working on. We did, or I should say I did, make something. I got a project box off of Amazon. I'm telling them, give me a sec. It was a project box off Amazon. It was all black. It was like 20 bucks. I'll put the link in the description and everything, all that jazz. And then I used my label maker, so a clear tape with white lettering to make some simple labels. And I got, of course, the gauges you always see on places like AliExpress, because that's where I got them. For center, you know, negative this, positive that, mount amp meter and voltmeter. And spray painted it all with this green color, which is just moss Rust-Oleum green. I get it up there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Moss Rust-Oleum green. That's that one. The one in the middle. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I did that to kind of give it this vintage kind of a look. I was originally gonna do that jade green, that hospital, you know, pukey green color that's in so many locomotive cabs and stuff like that. But eventually I just gave up and I was like, you know what, I'll just do a green, but I'll do like a moss green. It's a little bit, you know, less pukey. But whatever, still looks kind of cool and vintage. And then I just screwed it to a piece of whatever that is. I don't know, aluminum siding? Whatever I found. And then mounted it underneath the bolts that connect our table. So it's in there, but it's kind of, you know, whatever, it bounces around, whatever. The whole point is that it works. We have an amp meter and a voltmeter just because it looks cool. I then wired it in 2 ways. So this one is for the amp meter. And I just took a Kato wire, cut it, and then ran a separate cable that goes from the positive up into here. And that's the wire that goes from my Soundbox to the track. So then I have a good idea of the amps being pulled on the track. Secondary from that is I got the volts. And the volts are just coming from, well, that's a connector over there. I'm sure you've seen that. A connector for the amount of volts that are going onto the same track, and it goes down in there and then back up to the track. So I got volts and amps for our layout. And because why not, I wired 2 cheap LED lights that are already wired in amber color to the backs of these things, but I reversed the positive and negative to the voltmeter. So they're both wired to the voltmeter, only the reverse one is mounted, wires are mounted backwards, positive to negative and negative to positive. So that when we reverse the flow, the reverse one should light up. When we go positive, the positive one lights up. Why? And because that's how these lights, these LEDs work. They only work with positive and positive, negative and negative. So if you just use 2 of them and swap the cables, you have a back and forward. You'll see, whatever. Anyway, I have a cheap L switch for the Kato transformer because I got tired of plugging and unplugging it, so I just used that, and boom, it's on. Gotta love that. This is all wired in. Get this guy out of the way. With my separate Kato adapter, so a switch powers all of that and the Soundbox. Let's turn this guy up so you get an idea. And then, I don't know, let's run something. How about our How about we pull out those RS3s, those Atlas RS3s I have, which I also started out with microtransit couplers and went back to the Kato El Cheapo dummy connectors, which I found out work better. Go figure. Anyway, let's turn this guy on, and this will power that on, and then that'll go right out to the soundbar. And that way it's sitting underneath the layout, not all up in the corners and everything of the room where you're gonna be hearing stuff from all over the place. No, we wanna kinda hear it from the layout. Why? Because when you put the dinky little speakers inside of these cars and everything, they just sound tinny and not all that great. I know everybody likes doing DCC and sound and everything, but yeah, exactly. They just don't sound that great, not that bassy, and honestly, even for what it is, it's a soundbar. I mean, it sounds okay. It sounds pretty bassy. He likes it. At least I think he does. Yeah, he does. Okay, so let's fire it up and I'll show you. When last checked, it was positive, negative, negative. So there's that small amount of electricity that's going into the track because of these settings here. The start adjusts how much amperage comes out of the pack all the time versus when you hit the throttle. And sync is just for sound, so you can turn that up and down, whatever. But yeah, if you have an engine that needs more amperage, you turn this guy up, and it starts out with the more amperage. If you have a really powerful engine or locomotive that doesn't need a lot of amperage, turn that guy back down, and it'll just kind of feed in a little bit of amperage. That's how the Soundbox works. Nobody tells you that. You have to figure that one out. It's not even in the manual. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear me over the sound of the first gen EMD. Anyway, so I'll turn this guy up, and I'll start throwing switches, and I'll see if I can bring out the RS3s I have. So this is number 6. Gotta love that. I still gotta do work, you know, going inside and hiding all the cables and everything, and we'll get there. We'll get there, Benji, don't worry. Yeah, buddy. Okay, let's throttle up and watch the amperage play out on here. See, that's kind of what it does. Throttle it down, and it'll start to fall down again. How this? We'll throw it in reverse, and then start throttling up. It switches to reverse, and the needles start going the opposite direction, which, I don't know, I kind of like. Throttle back down again, and the needles start coming back down again. So I kind of get a kick out of that. Let's see. Throw it in reverse, start giving it a little throttle up, and there they go. I got 2 of them. Throttle match? Who needs throttle matching when you got DC? And yeah, they move. So we can throttle it back down again. 555 and 553. I'm a sucker for New Haven, but I grew up in Connecticut for the most part. This kid don't care, he just likes the stuff going around the track. Stop her. Or stop them, I should say. We'll put the RS3s away. They work, not bad. I think I paid like, I don't know, 60 something bucks each. So not bad, just clean them up. Swap out the couplers and away we go. Alright, let's throw her in reverse. Switch the track, we're gonna put it back on the layout. Throttle up. It switches to reverse and everything goes slowly but surely, starts ramping up. I know, I should really get the Alco sound card for these things. I should. What do you think, kid? Alco sound card? Okay, next. We'll do that next. I know, it's heresy. We're running an EMD sound card on our layouts while using 2 Alco RS3s. Oh no. The internet's gonna come find us and scold us for being not perfect. Anyway, we'll back these things up, stick them back in our Loco house, crazy house. Those are our RS3s, 555 and 553. They're fun. And what I found out is the dummy couplers from Kato work just as good, if not better, than the micro chains ones, which just kept coming off. Also, I didn't want the body mount style that micro chains wants you to do. I kind of just wanted, hold on. Let me turn down the sound on an F unit that's not running. I also just didn't want body mounted couplers for this kind of stuff because I kind of wanted to use them as switchers. They're road switchers after all. So I just put the dummy Kato couplers back in there, and they seem to work just fine. Anyway, whatever. Dirt cheap. Thanks again, Plaza Japan. Anyway, moving right along. Let's try running something better, like, I don't know, our new Southern Pacific. Let's do that. So, for the Southern Pacific, that's fairly straightforward and simple. All we gotta do is manually engage, because I like having at least one or two manual switches or turnouts. So, is turn that thing on, and then we'll have power to our spur. See? Light's already on because it's starting to feed it a little bit of energy anyway. Right now it's in reverse. It's not giving it that much power good because we would be trying to go through that bumper. So let's try switching everything over to forward on our transformer and then throttling up. It switches to forward. We'll start up everything on the Kato Soundbox because if it's not running the engine, it actually doesn't output that much power or any power. So give it a little more juice. It'll start sending more voltage and amperance to those two units, the A and the F7A and F7B. And we'll start moving. Yeah, again, I think it was like 60 something bucks for each one of these. Same thing as the RS3s. And honestly, these days, if you're getting an N-scale locomotive that's working and in good shape for less than $80, you're doing okay. Sadly, that's how expensive this stuff is. I know Ben agrees with me. Don't you, buddy? Of course he does. Of course he does. At least it's an F-Series. It sounds like an F-Series because of our first-gen EMD. Oh, that's right. By the way, you gotta get the Kato Soundbox, whatever it is, number 22-101 to get the card with it. So the Japanese version, weirdly, the 101. If you get the 102, which is the newer version, I guess, there's like no difference except there's like a couple more little lines around the sync button. If you get that version, it's the same price but with no card. So get the -101 Kato Soundbox if you can. Comes with a card. It's one less you gotta buy. And if you have an F-Series, like an F3 or F7, boom, you now have the card that goes for it. Anyway, that's what we got going on. A bunch of changes, as you can see. And the layout's getting, I don't know, more complicated. Let me give you a nice wide shot of what we got going on in here. That double helix, how it goes around. And then we got our spur. And I'm keeping these two turnouts manual, so, you know, this one and this one. I just like being able to do the ones that are closest manually. Kind of feels like you're throwing the switches yourself as opposed to just moving the little switches up and down on the Kato connectors. So, whatever. That's what's going on with that. And I'll turn the volume down. Oh, side note. A lot of people are like, well, not a lot of people, but I've had literally nobody ask me this, but I always wanted to know, does the Soundbox work without running the sound on it? Does it just work like regular DC? The answer is yes, it does, but you have to shut off the locomotive start sequence when you power it up. Otherwise, then it goes into the whole momentum thing where you have to ramp up and everything. Here, let me show you. So, here you are, you're trucking along. Yeah, the sound's still on. It's still chugging along. Yeah, whatever. I'll just turn the volume down, okay? And I'll kill the power. And then it slowly comes to a halt. And if the sound was still on, you'd hear it go Yeah, exactly like that. All right. Well, here, I'll turn the sound back up again so you can get an idea what's going on. So, what happens is if you turn the power off to the Soundbox, right? It shuts off and that's that, right? Okay. If you turn the power on, it wants to go through the whole startup sequence and all that. And that's great. But what if you don't want to do it like that? You just want to run it like DC. Press the eject button That's in there. Yeah, that's the eject button. And it stops that whole sequence. Now you're just running off of this, and it's just outputting DC like normal. So yeah, you still have the trace amount of electricity that it's set to with the start button, or the start knob turned a little bit to the right. In fact, if you turn it to the left, you'll see it come down a little bit. See? If you turn it to the right again, you'll see it come up a little bit. To the left, see? That's just power, default power. Think of it as the default voltage coming out of this box. Okay. Well, now we're just running on regular DC. No sound. I mean, the volume's up, but you're not hearing anything. So if I just turn it up, and it just runs. I turn it down, and it stops. Doesn't gradually come down to a halt or anything. I turn it up, and it goes. Turn it down, it stops immediately. So you can just run it while still plugged into everything, so you don't have to go ripping wires out and everything, like your regular old DC system. Turn it up, and immediately starts moving. No sound, no nothing. Turn it down, and that's that. You can't do much else. Like, you can't press the other buttons, like the horn and the bell. You know, the start button is the number 3, and you know that'll turn on eventually. Oh no, you gotta hit the eject button to start. See, eject starts. There starts and stops. That shouldn't just be eject. It should be start stop. Yeah, now that whole program is working, you can use the horn and the bell, the hiss from air brakes and stuff. But you know, just turn it all off. Now you're just back to DC. So you learned something new about the Kato Soundbox. Sorry, Kato, not Kato. And in the meantime, yeah, this was really cool. I got to rip this thing open up and do another special or whatever video on this, because this worked out pretty well. So give it power and watch the needles climb. Turn it off, watch them drop. Switch into reverse, and as soon as you start giving it power, switches to reverse, and back she goes. Power off and power off. I love that. So yeah, these things were like, I don't know, $3 maybe each, you know? The box was like maybe $20. These, I got a pack of like 50 for like $10, $8, not even. And then, you know, the can of $4 spray paint. But I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. And I didn't see an add-on ammeter, voltmeter that I could just, you know, connect to a Kato track. But, you know, that's what this hobby's all about. So if it doesn't exist, just make it. Anyway, that's it from us. And besides, I think it's nap time. So what do you think? Nap time? Well, we'll talk about nap time. Anyway, bye for now.